My name is Cassy Summers. Welcome to the Curious Universe podcast. You're talking. Are you listening? Are you responding? The spirit world, the ghost world, and in access consciousness, we call it the entity world. This is a place that has been in a lot of cultures very mysterious. In other cultures, can be blasphemous and evil and wrong. In some cultures, it's celebrated and explored and even worshipped. This is a huge area to explore. And as we kind of come into Halloween and playing with the energies of this, I wanted to get curious with you a little bit about entity awareness. Now, the reason that we use the word entity in access consciousness is because it has less judgments and significant things put on it. If you say the word ghost, that brings up everything you've learned this lifetime about ghosts. It's going to bring up all these points of view. And then you're actually going to tap into other people's points of view about ghosts. Same with spirits, all this stuff. So when we use entity, it's actually harder to have a point of view about it. But it's the same thing. That's what we're talking about. An entity is any kind of like being. An entity can be a business. It can be a disembodied being. It can be a multitude of things. And it's a rich world of magic if you're willing to explore it. I know a lot of people. Well, it depends. Okay, so I know a lot of people that are in both categories and maybe somewhere in between. There are those that are so curious and they're like, oh, I wish that I could talk to my auntie, or I wish that I could communicate with the entities. There used to be, maybe there still is, and I just don't watch it. I don't watch a lot of TV, but where there were like shows where there would be mediums and communicators, and they would communicate to entities for the audience, right? It's kind of like really intriguing. It's very mysterious and interesting. And then there's others that are just outright terrified. Maybe they have something that's happened to them, or they were told how like you don't want to mess with those energies because it's going to draw those energies into your life. It's dark, it's witchcraft, I don't know, all the things. And then we also have everything from all the other lifetimes that we're bringing forward. We just clear all that shit for a minute. Everything that brings up and lets down, will you destroy it and create it, please? Right, wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all night shorts, boys, puppets, and beyonds. You're new to the show, that is the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. I use it pretty much every show. It is just a way to clear our energy. I'm not going to go in and talk about and describe and all the things, but there is a link in the description where you can always check out more information and explore it on your own, and you can use it, and it works without you having to understand it. How cool is that? So that's what we're doing here today. As we explore, we're kind of bringing up some energies just real gently, and then we're just going to clear them out and see what else is possible for you. So communication, talking. I'm not just talking about disembodied beings. Like we have the body and then we have the being. You might call it the spirit or the soul or whatever. And then when the body dies, what happens to the being? Well, depends on your belief system. But in Access Conscious, we have the awareness that the being itself is its own consciousness. And so as the body dies and the consciousness of the body dies and transforms into soil for the earth, or however you do it, the being itself can actually get stuck. It can get confused. It can have unfinished business. It can, like, all the things that you could think of and things that you've seen in movies. Some of them are very accurate and some of them are not very accurate. So if you have a capacity to receive from, and receive, I mean like to perceive, to receive, to communicate with entities, then most likely there are entities around you right now communicating to you. Don't freak out. Don't turn this off. You're safe. You're fine. They're there anyways. It's just sometimes we pretend that we're not there. Like I remember being a kid, and if I needed like to go to the bathroom at night or get a drink of water, usually my parents would get mad and be like, get back to bed. And so I would do this thing where I thought if I just would walk like this, like because they would be sitting in the living room, like watching TV or something. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to tiptoe to the bathroom. And I would be like, as long as I couldn't see them, they couldn't see me. But guess what? They could see me. And sometimes they laughed, and they told me this when I was older, that they would, if I did that, they wouldn't yell at me. So how much do you think that if you can't see them, then they can't see you? If you can't hear them, I don't hear you, then they don't know you're there. Everything that is, and all the lies and all the childlike decisions you made about that, will you destroy it and create it, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, bad, all night, short, sports, formats, and beyonds. Okay, so we have these beings and they are communicating. And then we also have other things like objects that are communicating, like jewelry actually communicates to me a lot. It will, I was wearing other earrings and these earrings were like, put me on today. And I'm like, really? Okay, I'm sorry. I just wore you the other day. I was trying to change it up. Everything will communicate to you. Are you listening? Are you receiving that communication? And are you answering? And maybe sometimes you do answer. Are you one of those people that like talk out loud all the time and people are like, who are you talking to? And you're like, oh, myself. Are you? You might be talking to yourself. You might be talking to some beings. You might be talking to some entities. You might be talking to all the objects in your house. That doesn't make you crazy. It doesn't. It actually does not make you crazy. So wow. Woo, feel like can of worms opened, or like Pandora's box, just like I just opened it and that's what just happened. Cool. Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, bad, all night, shorts, boys, books, beyonds. I love exploring with you all. This is what occurs. It's so cool. Yeah, what if everything that you're aware of is what you're aware of and it does not make you crazy? And others might. Here's the thing is, if others can't perceive what you can perceive, then they will, not everyone, but they will often dismiss it or judge it by making you wrong or you crazy or you whatever. Or what they're doing is they're desperately trying to avoid their own awareness. I don't see it, I don't see it. So they have to reject you or judge you as a way to hold in place their own barriers to what's going on. Mm-hmm. Ding, ding, ding. I can perceive a lot of you. That is what has occurred. Interesting. Everything you decided about that for you, will you destroy it and create it? Please, right, wrong, good, bad, POC, bad, all night, shorts, boys, formats, and beyond. Cool. Let's just be with that energy just for a minute here. It changes. You know, it's interesting, movies, television, there's a lot of cool things that come from that medium. There is a lot of consciousness, a lot of awakening, a lot of possibility, but there's also a lot of implants. There's a lot of lies and things that kind of sneakily get in your head. So if you see over and over and over the image, the person that is apparently talking to themselves, and they're always like the person on the street, the drug addict, the homeless person, the crazy person, the scary person, and they like usually unattractive, usually like they're not clean. You start to create an image, right? Almost like this is the personality of someone that talks to things. And it's usually an unpleasant one, and you don't ever want to be that. So then you have to negate anything that would match that. So now look at what is the personality of someone that talks to ghosts, entities, spirits. Like what personality or image has been created in your world for you about that? You just kind of see like a picture would probably pop into your head. Whew. Now that's going to depend on your life experience. You may have like spoke with many like mediums, uh people that channel, like people in that realm that aren't in that kind of crazy cuckoo space. You may never have, and your only reference is what you've seen in television and on TV. And what if none of that is actually relevant to you and how you would be in communicating? Right, good, bad, pop, bad, all night, shorts, boys, boats, and beyonds. So how do you communicate? How would you communicate? How could you communicate? Oh, good, bad, pop, bad, all night, shorts, boys, boats, and beyonds. Again, I'm realizing this is Pandora's box. I opened it. I don't was late to do it. Okay, I'm sorry. And if you're not ready to look at this and explore it, then just close the box, turn off the podcast. I'll see you in the next one. If you want to like just explore a little bit, we're just going to gently touch on this together. Because any capacity you have, whether it's with entities, whether it's with healing bodies, whether it's with money, if you're not actually utilizing it, most often we're somehow using it against ourselves. So something I love to do that's always been one of my kind of targets with clients and in classes is to empower people to know their capacities and to open up to engaging with them, playing with them, utilizing them, creating a greater life with those capacities. What if every capacity you have could actually create a greater life for you? So if you are the person that hears all the objects, I hear objects all the time. My glass will talk to me. My jewelry will talk to me. My clothing will talk to me. Like everything will communicate and talk to me. I don't live on the street. And I bathe every day unless I'm camping. Okay. Just want you to know that I bathe every day. So I'm outside of the image of the person that things talk to them, and I will talk back. I will respond. I will communicate. I will engage with the items around me, and I will engage with the disembodied beings around me. I'll engage with my business as an entity. I'll engage with all the entities because that capacity makes my life easier. It makes my life greater. It can alter things as if by magic. So what if all your capacities, no matter what they are, no matter what you've decided about them or what you've been told about them, are actually here to make your life greater and easier? Where else would you have them? Like a bird being like, I don't know, flying I think I'll just walk everywhere. Birds have wings so they can fly. You have capacities so you can fly. And one of those capacities may or may not be communicating with entities. And then I'm back to that first thing I came in with was they're talking. Are you listening? Are you responding? I'm going to invite you to lower your barriers a little bit, because sometimes our barriers will come up as we look at particular topics that have a lot of fear implanted into them. So, like I said, we watch all these scary movies about ghosts and beings and like how evil and awful they are. There are a few that are not, which I'm grateful for. Oh, like Casper. He's just the cutest, isn't he? Or the movie Ghost with like Whoopi Goldberg, and that was a pretty good one. She was terrified because of all these things that we have bought that make us terrified. So all the things that you've bought that make you terrified of your capacities to communicate with entities, rather than intrigued, curious, and wanting more, will you destroy and create it, please? Right, wrong, goodbye, talk about all nature, it's boys, poets, jobs. But one of the things I do love about the energy of like, as Halloween and All's Hallow Eve is coming up, people start to get over that, like their curiosity will overtake their fear to a degree. Their desire to play into the mysticism, to go into the magic of it, seems to be greater than their desire to protect and lock out and avoid. So that's why I'm using this time to my advantage to kind of tickle this possibility into your world, to see if I can pull on some of those curiosities of yours so that you might actually explore a bit more of this entire universe of the spirit world. It is full of so much magic and joy and pleasure and play, and oh my gosh, like I've talked about magical creatures on the show. I've communicated with my clients. They have had loved ones that have passed and we've communicated, and it's not just me doing like the communication, I'm actually showing them how to communicate. There's just this whole beautiful universe to explore, and beyond everything that I just said, there's beings of light, there are tree spirits, there are nature spirits, there, like the earth itself is an entity. Okay, so what if during this month you could allow your curiosity to overtake your fear, your avoidance, or whatever else is keeping you from diving in on this topic? Anything that doesn't allow that, will you destroy and create it, please? Right, wrong, good, bad, talk about all the insurance, boys, po-bads, and beyond. Woo! Yes. Oh my gosh, guys. How much fun could we actually have? I have like a million stories of where this type of communication has been such a gift in people's lives. I have this one client and she has amazing entity communication. It took her a while to get over the fear, but when she started communicating, she went to buy a house and she actually tapped into the home and she asked, are there any entities there? And she got one. And so she asked the entity, hey, is there anything wrong with the house that I need to know about? And they said, yeah, there's huge problems with the roof and they're not going to tell you about it. And she's like, okay, cool. She didn't even bother. Like, and so she was using this when she was purchasing a new home to talk to the entities that have been there forever, that I know exactly what's going on with the house, exactly what the owner wouldn't tell you, and they desire to communicate. They're so grateful that someone's communicating to them that they're going to spill the beans. They're going to let you know what's up, right? And there's a million other ways that entities can be a huge gift, a huge contribution in our lives, whether they are the disembodied beings, whether they are relatives, whether they are magical creatures of the earth, nature spirits, all of it. it's this glorious space where you can actually not only just listen, receive that, and then communicate with them, engage with them, respond. Because they're communicating with you. And sometimes I will say to my clients, well, how would you want to be treated? If you left your body, at some point we will, and you're on the other side, you're in the spirit world now, and you're trying to communicate, how do you want to be treated? Now, I'm not saying that every entity is wonderful and magical and glorious. No, no, no. And the Talk to Entities tools have a lot to assist with, the assholes that are out there, because they're out there. But man, my experience has been the universe of like what's beautiful and magical and possible is so much bigger than this small dark corner of stuff we don't really want to deal with. So there we go. As I wrap up here with you, thank you for exploring this with me. I wanted to give you a special invite. If you want to get in a little bit more, if you want to maybe uncover a bit of your capacities with entity communication, maybe you are curious, is there something talking to me because these things keep happening, or I feel like I hear someone, or having really weird dreams, or maybe you're just intrigued, maybe you're just curious and you're like, I loved when I was a kid, the Ouija board. Like I was always trying to play with it. And I was always like, I want to talk to them. I want to know, like, I want to ask them questions. I want to explore. Because I'm a curious person. Maybe you're a curious person. Maybe you would like to engage with this topic a little bit more and uncover some of your capacities. It's not about one person has the right way to communicate with entities. We all actually have our unique, beautiful way of communicating with entities. What if you could find out what you're capable of in this area? What if you could actually explore this for you so that you can enrich your life, so that you can use this beautiful capacity for you rather than against you? So if you're intrigued, I would like to invite you to a very special 2-hour intro class that my wonderful friend Linda Rizzoli is facilitating. She's coming to my town, which is awesome, Kelowna, BC, Canada. But she'll also be doing it online. So if you're not going to jump on a plane and come hang out with me in person, I don't know why you wouldn't, but if you weren't, then you could join us online and we will go in and explore this. And if you have particular questions, like, how do I know if an entity is communicating with me? How do I know if they can hear me? How do I do this thing? How do I not have the assholes pester me? And so on and so on and so on. Then this is really a place for you to explore that. And if you're just curious and you're like, I don't really have any questions, but I would love to just like be with a bunch of people that are actually like acknowledging that we're not crazy, that we are aware. And if maybe you've already delved into the entity stuff a little bit, maybe you are like, that you've seen them, what's going on, but you want to take a step further. You're like, but I want to start actually using this to my advantage. I want to start utilizing this in my life. This class is for you too, then, because we can go wherever you would like to go. So this 2-hour class is going to be October 27th, 2024. We'll have links in the description. And I'm sure you'll see, I'm going to do a bunch of fun stuff with Linda, so you'll get to meet her, but she's incredible. And she brings such lightness, irreverence, and humor to the spirit world. It kind of like breaks up the fear. It's hard to be afraid when you're laughing. And having way too much fun. And that's really what I sense this class is going to be. It's going to be way too much fun, and you're invited. So please come explore with us if it's light for you. check out in the link below, online, live, whatever floats your boat. And I'll see you in the next episode of the Curious Universe podcast, where we break down the structures of reality so you can have your own reality. Bye for now. Thank you for exploring the curious universe with me. Your curiosity matters. And what if together we could create a greater, more curious world?